People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you for watching and rocking each and every time with me, people. Yeah, man, I don't know what to make of this. For me personally, people, before I crack on, I don't even, because I've copied and pasted it poorly. Long story short, apparently Josh Kroenke is a bit anxious in regards to, first and foremost, he clearly, from the way this is written, question marks over Emery's ability long term to be the manager and be the one to fix it, beyond the fact that he's a good manager and we're in wait and see mode. But I also feel that it's the cool thing. I got my own criticisms of Unai Emery. I want him to do well, people. I don't want to turn into this club that sacks club managers all the time and all of these sort of things. There is a debate to be had with having loyalty, having principles, and then seeing if, I'm not saying him, but just generally, if you see a manager is not the fit for your club or the right man to do whatever job you want to do, whatever club you support, if you really don't believe this, then how long do you trot along without pulling the clip, without pulling him from it and clipping him? Do you get it, people? But I do think it's the cool thing to hate on Unai Emery. I want him to get it right. I have several criticisms of Unai Emery's how we're playing football. I love the guy, I love his passion and whatnot. But I love my football club more, and I can only comment on what I see. I think he's installed some good principles, but for me, I don't see... I keep hearing he's pragmatic in things, and we get it because he thinks about the opposition to the point where it kind of does our head in. But at the same time, I can't see how you can have a pragmatic team and not improve defensively at all, or be proactive in regards to defending. Yes, some of these players make individual errors that just can't be factored in, and I'm not saying that's on Unai Emery because he can't factor in these individual errors. But at the same time, there's got to be a base level of defending. You look at Chelsea, United, I'm sure at a point under Jose they improved statistically defensively for all his criticisms. So I don't see how you can be pragmatic but concede all these goals. He spoke in his first game of wanting to win 5-4 more than 1-0. I've seen nothing to suggest that, and the things he does leads me to believe he's scared of that. I feel he's learned a lot about himself, but I feel he's playing with a mental handbrake. I feel when you look at Emery, what does he stand for? Like when you look at some managers, do they stand for young players? He shows a bit of that. Does he stand for these experienced players? He shows a bit of that. Is he an attacking coach? Is he a defensive coach? I don't know what he is, and he's been here long. And I know he's a good tactician and he's shown it, people. But in terms of your own principles and your own hallmark and Arsenal Football Club having an identity, I don't know. The identity's been missing, people. And that's actually, we lost, let's be honest, our last 2 seasons under Wenger, we kind of lost the ability to play this Wenger ball to a significant standard. And it's just got worse under Emery, if I'm completely honest. It doesn't seem, beyond the fact of Xhaka dropping in from the centre-halves when they've split to receive it, playing out from the back. When Xhaka gets the ball in midfield, I know he does terrible things at times, but it doesn't look like anybody wants it. It doesn't look like there's a consistent plan. Beyond the fact of we've got some great individuals and we put together some good technically based moves, we're not doing enough offensively. So first and foremost, I'd like to see us improve defensively, but I don't really know what Emery stands for. Despite that, I do think it's the cool thing to hate on him, people. I do think it's the witch hunt, man. I know, again, there's constructive criticism and then it's cool, and I think you've seen the media. Suddenly it's come out that Josh wants him out, not out, but he's having question marks. That this guy's having question marks. That these media people that allegedly have sources close to the training ground have said the players this, that and the other. I will never know how true these claims are. You never know how true they are. At most, I can only react to what I've been told, but... moving on, apparently, some media guy called McGarry, has claimed that Josh Kroenke was left anxious to give Emery more money to spend because he was not convinced by the Spaniards' first season in charge. It was a bit more by luck than design that they finished as high as they did last season, he told the Transfer Window podcast. And there's a little bit of doubt creeping into the Arsenal hierarchy about Unai Emery, specifically with Josh Kroenke. Now, at the end of the day, I know Raul has his input, Vinay has his input, all these guys have their collaborative input. But obviously it's not Josh's club, but it's Josh's club, innit? It's his dad's club. His opinion is ultimately the one that matters. And if he doesn't believe in Emery privately, beyond the fact of he's shown some good things, but we don't really know what he's really on, and we know he could be the guy to kind of sturdy the ship and get rid of players and kind of give us a base potentially for a next manager who's a bit more radical in their approach, a bit more strong principled and more aligned with the Arsenal values to take on the mantelpiece with a core group of young players and players within their best years or best years ahead of them that want to be at this club and have a base level of playing people. Do you get it? I think Emery's a good coach, but at the end of the day, there's not one player I can really say has improved significantly. I can cherry pick, but what I mean by that is if I was to show someone clips a year ago of someone, I don't know, let's just say we got clips of Raheem Sterling 3 years ago before, because for the last 3 years he's been scoring goals. If we got, let's just say 4 years, if we got that season before the 3 good goal scoring years, if we got that season and we showed any of the last 3 seasons and we compared them to someone who doesn't give a crap about football and said just watch them, if one of them will say, oh, of course, Sterling looks a different player. I can say, oh, yeah, this player's improved, that player's improved. But to the untrained eye or someone that doesn't care about Arsenal, they're like, aye, what are you talking about, mate? Do you get it? So not one player's improved significantly. Young players are given dribs and drabs of chances. Kind of bewildering tactics. I kind of get why Josh would be a bit baffled, because even in the 22-game unbeaten run last season, people, I was saying it then. Couple of games where we was playing well, but Emery's consistently having to change the team at half time. If you're having to do that, on one hand, that happens, you're a great manager because you can change things quickly and react. But on the other hand, if you're consistently changing your approach, then for all the criticisms of the players, fundamentally the penalty has to drop with Emery and what he's doing. How many games last season did we not only concede a ridiculous amount of goals, clean sheets still escaping us, away form still poor, but we was relying on the second half and we'd slaughter teams in the second half and go on this unbeaten run and it was shut up about. These same things, the same Arsenal where we are now is where we've been at all points last season, people. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna be honest. We have not improved. It was just shut up about. You look at the game last season against Fulham. On paper, that's Fulham away. Great game, 5-1. Ramsey scored a goal of the season contender, probably up there for Arsenal goals last season. But if you remember that game, we actually went behind. Second half changed it, everybody hushed about it. When you're quiet about these things, they come to light, people. Do you get it? So yeah, man, I understand that. I do think at times Emery has set us up perfectly. Like, ironically, we've got United away to come. But United away last season, he set us up perfectly. The players, again, individual mistakes cost us. Emery can't factor in these mistakes, but the constant themes are still remaining. And whether we know he's a head coach or not, but at the end of the day, if these things haven't either regressed or been eradicated, the penny has to drop with Emery. Not everything, but there's not been any significant progress. There's not really anything to get behind personally, beyond the fact of I like Unai Emery. I don't like when people gang up on people, and I just want him to do well. I don't want Emery to do poorly. I know a lot of people, I've seen some people saying they hope we don't get Champions League and we do these things so he gets sacked. I mean, you don't love Arsenal then. I don't care who's managing Arsenal within reason. I want them to do best. I want him to have it won't obviously, but I want him to have as many years here as Wenger. I want him to have a successful time here, people. It is what it is. And it said they're not close to sacking him. That's not what we're saying here. But what we've been told is that they didn't want to invest a huge amount of money on the basis that we'd have to suck it up and see with this guy. He's got a lot of things right and he's got some things wrong. As we saw against Watford last weekend, when they couldn't have got it defensively more wrong. It wasn't all doom and gloom for Emery though, who despite these claims managed to convince the board to splash the club's transfer record. We obviously shelled out 72 million on Pepe, beating Liverpool and Napoli to his signature. Obviously Saliba 27 mil, Tierney 25, Gabriel Martinelli 6, Ceballos on loan, and Luiz came in. Now, again, if they don't want to invest significantly in because they don't know with him, then that's cool. But personally, I don't buy that because the players Arsenal buy, it's not. They're going to be here longer than Emery. They're going to be here for the person beyond Emery. You look at Saliba. Emery's contract is up at the end of this season. He might get a new deal. I personally feel when he signed the contract, they had 4 years minimum in mind. But surely, why would you sanction a signing to come next season if you thingy? Why would Emery again, the board don't really have Emery don't really have any relevance, but why would Emery sanction that if he's not going to be here? And equally, I don't know how much I buy that report because you've talked about investment. We spent money on a player that's not there, and I'm sure we spent money on Pepe. If we spent money on Pepe, I'm sure they would invest in other areas, and why wouldn't they? It would help us get stronger. So I'm not sure how much I buy the whole concerns, but I'm not too sure about they were reluctant to give him more money than we could because again, if they have concerns about and they don't want to give him significant terms, that's fine. But I mean, if you could see if there was a quality player out there, composing central mid, a good centre half, and other players like that, do I feel the club are not going to try and bring these players in because Emery is in charge? I think that's a load of bull to be fair with you, because these players have resale value. These players will help us, not just help Emery, but potentially in the future. Do you see what I'm saying, people? I do think they have concerns clearly because you look at the list of players there. He signed David Luiz. David Luiz has made 2 mistakes on the spin. Ultimately, whether it's Emery signing or not, the penny's going to drop on Emery, so he needs to get that out of his game. Gabriel Martinelli and Saliba, when he comes, are 2 young players, so can he develop them? I know Saka's been given chances and all these others, but what young players he improved significantly? I know he can probably say Joe now, and Joe will be his guy, but you get the point. Kieran Tierney, very young, 22 years of age. Hopefully he turns into one of our most reliant and consistent players. He's got that. It's down to Emery to insert him into a back 5, including the right back and centre half and all the others, into a functioning back 5 and being part of a defence that can be here for a couple of years to get Arsenal back on top or back qualifying for the Champions League. And I haven't really seen none of this. Pepe, at the end of the day, the penny's going to rely on Pepe, but Pepe is still developing. It's about Emery. Can Emery utilise him in the best way? Can Emery get the best out of him? Because if not, if he can't develop players, if he can't get top 4, if he can't install the defensive aspects of the game, core principles to Arsenal getting better, then it's difficult to make a case as to whether he's going to have a long-term future here. It'd be kind of silly to sack him midway through the season. I think writing off the season already would be ridiculous, and only Arsenal fans can be optimistic as hell in pre-season, already put themselves as a shoo-in for top 4 prior to the last 3 games, and now it's all doom and gloom. It's not all Arsenal fans, it's just we know we've got some special fans within our fan base, people. So on that note, there's not much more to say on that front, people, so I'm going to get out of it. People, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking each and every time. As you know, it means a lot. Bang.